Okay, so I am guessing when you were training to be a healthcare professional, whatever profession that might be, you probably gave very little thought to your marketing, which is what I normally talk about. But I wouldn't mind betting that you gave even less thought to being a visionary and being a leader in your business. And that is exactly what you need to be. Those are two hats you need to be very comfortable wearing inside your practice for it to go where you want it to go. Now, if you're in a position where you're feeling like your practice and your business are kind of drifting, or they're heading off over here and you actually thought it was going to head off over here, there's a good chance that you're either lacking in the role of visionary or leader or both. Now, when we think about visionaries, we often think about these big people from history. So people like Martin Luther King or people like Gandhi. Now, in your practice, you do not have to be a world-shattering visionary or a world kind of famous visionary, but you do have to be the visionary of the business. This is your business. And so it's your responsibility to have a very clear vision for where you want that business to go. Now, when I speak to a lot of healthcare practitioners and I ask them this question that I'm going to ask you, an awful lot of them struggle to give me a concise answer. And that tells me that they are lacking in this role of visionary in their practice. So I'm going to ask you, what is your vision for the next 5 years for your practice? Can you answer that question in a succinct way? Can you answer it quickly without too much umming and ahhing? If you're struggling, then I'm going to suggest that you need to start thinking about and looking at your role as a visionary in your practice. Now, Stephen Covey in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People talks about start with the end in mind. And it's so important as the owner of this business to know where you're going. If you are running a business, running a private practice in healthcare, and you are recruiting people, you're taking on or starting to deliver new therapies or new treatments, if you're doing your marketing, if you're taking on new premises, all of those things, if you're doing all of those things and you don't have a clear vision for where you are going and where you are taking this business, you really are wasting a lot of time, money and energy, and all of those 3 things are only a sort of a finite resource in your business. So ask yourself, do I have a clear vision for my practice for 12 months, for 5 years, for 10 years? Have you got that clear vision of where you're looking to go? Just want to ask that question, okay? Now, if you are the visionary in your business that you need to be crystal clear on what that vision is. And you need to be crystal clear because you then need to communicate that vision to everyone around you so that they can be on board with where you're going. Because getting to where you want to be is going to require some effort and some work and some planning. And so you need everybody around you on board. Now, whether that's associates, whether that's your support staff, whether that's just your kind of partner at home, you need these people around you to be on board with this vision because it's going to take some effort and you're going to need that support from everybody. And more importantly, the people in your business need to know exactly where they're going within this vision so they know what they need to do, their bit, to get you and the business to where you want to be in 12 months, 5 years or 10 years time. Okay, so you need that clarity. You then need to communicate it really, really clearly, as I say, so everybody around you knows exactly what you have in your head and can see it themselves. But you also need to have some flexibility, because what I'm not saying is that you're planning a vision and it's set in stone, because some new innovation could come along, or a new partner could come into the business with a whole new set of skills, and so you could shift that vision and create something different for you going forward. But you need to start with something. But be open-minded and flexible to what could come further down the line. But start with something, so at least you're heading towards it. And you need to kind of stay focused on that end goal as often as possible. Keep it front of mind. Now, I do all sorts of things in my business to keep my vision in front of me. I have a vision board, which is immediately in front of me at my desk. I have a jar. I'll show you. I have a jar, my vision jar, which sits on my desk, and twice a day I just pull out one of those cards, and those cards kind of just keep that vision in my mind all the time. So I'm kind of staying on track and not drifting around. I'm still going towards that vision that I really want to achieve for me and for my business. And so those are the things you need to start thinking about in terms of being a visionary in your business. Having this clear vision, really clear, being able to communicate it, being able to enthuse the other people in your business about the vision that you're collectively creating for you. Because, it's your vision for your business, but you're taking everybody else along with you on this journey. And it could be really exciting if you get everyone else on board and everybody's working really clearly gunning for this thing. It's really, really powerful. So that's visionary. Now, what about being a leader? Now, as the owner of a business, you also have to be a manager, and I want to just differentiate between these two things. So if you are a leader has the big picture. Okay, so this is the vision. The leader holds that vision, that big picture. A manager is much more to do with the detail, being in the weeds of things, okay, and managing the minutiae in the business. The leader is the person who kind of stands at the helm and captains the ship, as it were, and provides direction, clear guidance. And there's two kind of things that I think leaders really ought to be providing. And that is, they need to be steering people, they need to be steering policies, they need to be steering procedures, all of that stuff. But they also need to be supporting. So steering and supporting, in my opinion, are two really, really valuable what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think of the word, but valuable, not assets, traits of a leader in your business. So think about the steering and supporting that you are providing in your business, because that is leadership. Okay, so the captain of the ship is really steering and guiding, but also is the cheerleader of all of the people on the ship to perform to their best, to give of themselves. Yeah, they're not just kind of standing vaguely close to the tiller on the ship. They're really the captain of the ship and are giving it some direction. And again, if your business feels like it's drifting, it could be because your leadership is not as good as it needs to be. Now, when I'm talking about leadership, think about kind of three key things really for you as a person. So are you having leadership orientated thoughts? Okay, are the words and the dialogue, the inner dialogue that you're having, the dialogue of a leader in your business? Or, as I see sometimes in practices, have you, rather than delegate things, have you kind of abdicated it and you've kind of gone, oh my goodness, just take that away from me and whatever, just do whatever, okay? If you're abdicating stuff and not purposefully delegating, then you are lacking in leadership, all right? You're not leading that. If you've just kind of palmed it off on somebody else and said, oh, just do it, just get on with it. Okay, you need to have one eye on what these other people are doing in your business. It's your business, okay? So be a leader, delegate meaningfully, and I'm not saying you supervise, but you just have delegated very purposefully. You've given that role to somebody else, and you're going to just keep checking in and making sure that they're okay, and you're going to be supporting them and steering, okay? So that's your thoughts. Then your words. Are you talking externally within your practice and away from your practice even? Are you talking in the way that a leader would talk? Are you being this person that you need to be a leader in your business? Now, you talk to a lot of my clients, I get very hung up on the words that people use because words are very, very powerful. And so make sure that any kind of conversations you're having, you are using the words of a leader. Now, leaders are very clear. Remember, you've got that super clear vision, so you know where it is and what you're going towards. And so they are very clear in the words that they use. There's very little ambiguity. This is good leadership. There's very little ambiguity or dithering about decision making. They're very good at making decisions. So those words that you use to say, by all means, have a consensus of opinion, but then you make a very clear, decisive decision with the words that you use. And then, of course, the actions that you take. Are you on a daily basis demonstrating leadership in your business? It's that kind of do as I do. And in doing the doing in your business, is the doing you're doing moving the business forward? Or are you busy being busy? Are you really just like treading water, but like that little duck paddling frantically under the water, but actually not going anywhere? Those actions are not the actions of a leader, okay? If you're furiously paddling and not getting anywhere, you're not moving your business forward and you're not demonstrating very good leadership. And so I want to kind of ask you the question, do you feel hand on heart in your business that you are fulfilling the role of a visionary and as a leader? I'm just going to let that one sit for a second. But if you're not, start being proactive, start looking for a mentor that can help you or a coach that can help you. Start looking for great role models that you can model around business, vision and leadership. You've got to start taking control because these two things are crucial to the success of your business. If it's your business, even if it's just you and an associate, or even if it is just you, really, you still need to have this clear vision and you still need to be acting as the leader in the business. You could actually still be dreadful at, even if there's only you in the business, you could be dreadful at procrastinating and not actually moving forward. That is not leading your business, if there is only you in the business. So that's all I wanted to say on the subject of visionary and leadership in your business. But yeah, just think about it and be really honest and truthful with yourself. Are you being the visionary and the leader that you need to be to take this business to the place you really want to take it? That's all I'm going to say. Thank you very much for your time. If you are watching this video on YouTube, please head over to my blog, which is at jillwoods.com, to join in the conversation. And I just want to say thank you very much for your time, and I hope that you have got something out of spending this time with me today.